Midterms 2022. Man, I can't come up with anything better than that.
I absolutely works.
Yeah, it's just, we're talking about the midterm. Hey, I'm Talon Truth.
Mark Santana.
And this is Gods and Prophets. And the one we're talking about today is the American election system. Whether you like it or not, it's crammed full in every single ear.
We had an entire show filled with all other different types of information, and then the midterms came in and just stole all the thunder, all of it.
Well, it's because it's just shoving its nose in. We've been ignoring things like the looming diesel crisis. 25 days before the diesel goes out.
25 days as of...
Fuck if I care.
October 15th, 16th.
We're there. But we're frozen in time until after the politicians wheedle out their money exchanges and their little ritual child fucking sacrifices.
Money exchanges, because politics is all about how much money you can raise, right?
How many politicians become lobbyists and or positioned into a corporation's head of whatever division?
I don't know. Is it a lot?
Almost as many as become dual citizenship and then move to a different country.
So after winning some sort of election, being a governor or working in any sort of politics, you eventually become a lobbyist?
Why wouldn't you? That's where the money is.
Don't lobbyists work for different companies and corporations?
That's the point of them.
And then because they already have an in to other politicians.
Are you asking a question?
I'm
or
kind of asking, but
no, you're more explaining.
I'm just
fucking liberal.
Is this how it happens? Then they go, because they're all like, sucking each other off. That's how they can get different policies and stuff enacted.
The Great Worm is really just a circle of politicians sucking each other's dick.
I want to get in on this sucking. How can I get sucked? I'm not getting sucked enough at home. So
you're not getting sucked off enough at home.
I might have to become a politician, bro.
You might have to become a politician. Well, first off, you don't have enough money or power.
Touche. I can't even get laid when I want.
That's true. You can't snap your fingers and just get pussy. Unlike, I don't know, insert anybody who had a Ghislaine Maxwell.
Snapping your fingers and getting
Epstein.
that. Yeah, but that's,
what was it? Nyard?
What about Nyard?
I'm trying to remember all of the pedophiles that were caught during Trump's reign. Because during this current cycle, we got a red wave in Florida, and then everybody else is just going up in air. I hate politics, though. You know why I've learned to hate it? Not because of the idea of changing things by using a system where we all put our vote in, but the knowledge of the Electoral College ignoring, because it's just a suggestion. They can vote whatever that way they want, and it's an anonymous board of people.
So, I don't quite know how the Electoral College works, besides that certain people in certain districts that are voting based on the majority.
You don't elect the president.
The Electoral College elects the president.
Yes, and the votes are a suggestion.
So if one person from the Electoral College is in charge of, let's say, like 10 people, and 8 of those people say we want you to go to the right, and 2 of those say
you're way too fucking cerebral.
Then
How about this?
They can just pick whatever they want. What if one corporation
just bribes every one of them? We live in an area of internet security doesn't actually fucking exist. So what would happen if, say, a large cultish group of blackmailers were to use the digital network to find each one of these Electoral College voters?
And do what to them?
Bribe them or threaten to kill them. After all, who elects them? They're not an publicly elected official. It's not a publicly elected position. Therefore, who assigns them?
What do you do? Do you apply for that job?
That's the thing. This isn't a known. This is an unknown unknown. I've always told you that there's some weird shit.
Yeah.
This is one of the weirdest. While we're electing whoever the fuck as governor or senator all across the way, although I do find it funny they'd rather have a smooth brain than a Turkish man in Pennsylvania.
I believe you're referring to John Fetterman and the Dr. Oz character. Fetterman literally is mentally disabled. He's had strokes.
He's had challenges, yeah.
Had several strokes, and then he has a goiter shooting out of the back of his neck. And if you noticed during different speeches that he gives, he will always turn to the right and look to the right, even if there's nobody there, because he wants to cover up the giant football growing out of the back of his head. On top
Doesn't
of
matter. Come on, being a genetic defect is a boon in modern day.
Yeah, for
the most attention that you can get, because it's all about selling a story. If you can overcome a hideous deformity to become a politician, that means your blackmail game is on point. All right,
touche.
You gotta admire a man who can go on television and stutter his way through a sentence and still get elected.
Such a wild moment was watching that, even with the questions written down and in front of him. But we just have like this little, that's it. That's all we'll do. We'll just cover this tiny little thing.
No, hammer it in. Why would we stop you wanting to do what you want to do?
So as Floridians, we had Ron DeSantis for the past few years, and he has won again with a leading in votes of 1,500,000.
And this is DeSantis.
This is Ron DeSantis.
You know, the one thing I know about Ron DeSantis is that he bribed me directly when he said that he didn't want any more tax on cat litter food.
No tax on cat food, no tax on cat litter.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's why I was able to go today and get a giant bag of cat food for like $12. That normally costs me $7.50 at, let's say, the old infamous Publix. And I hate buying cat food at Publix, but every time I go in there, I'm having such pleasure. Because when you know, shopping is a pleasure there. That
I've never had pleasure at Publix. Publix is one of the creepiest places to enter. It's as if somebody took the wet dream of a Starbucks barista and then added in fucking vegetables.
That is insanely, like, visually accurate that I could see in my head. They always claim that it's we're shopping as a pleasure. Come down to Publix. The commercials are such bullshit. It's all a bunch of mixed families, you know, some kids riding around and handing out
every
groceries
commercial
at home.
Nowadays, they have to advertise because black men and white women are the highest spenders next to man butt dimensions.
Black men and white women?
Yeah.
As a couple? Is that what you rarely see, like a white man and a black woman?
Well, they don't spend as much money. All commercials are algorithm based
because of the the three top sellers or top people that contribute to our economy are black men, would be homosexuals, and white women.
Yeah.
So you put a black man and a white woman together,
and every single fucking commercial suddenly makes sense to you, right?
It absolutely does. Wow.
It has nothing to do with demographics.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with diversity. It has everything to do with
money.
Advertising directly to the person who sees themselves with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
very interesting. Oh, here in Florida, the Florida race. Wow, man. I'm thinking about that. Essentially, every single county we have here in Florida voted red, except for we have Broward County, Gadsden, not even heard of that place, Leon, and Orange. Leon is Tallahassee. Orange is Orlando. And then Broward is just north of Miami. A lot of old folks because there's a lot of money down there. And that's it. That's it. That's all I got. It was awesome. Great election. Cool beans. We can move on.
You say we can move on. I wonder if it will just end up becoming a cycle of people going, ha ha ha, my side.
Oh, that's exactly what it will be.
It's boring.
But I think now we have what happened over the past 2 years with COVID. And I've heard people getting angry.
The worst part about politics as a sports team is that you can never quit it.
No, you can't. And I hear people getting angry about a lot of folks that moved to Florida. Remember, we had this huge influx of people.
Yeah.
And every time they move down here, you always hear people say they're going to come down here and
vote their way.
Yeah, those aren't Democrats that are coming here. They're Republicans that are coming here. Republicans that don't want to be in their shit-ass states. So they say, they're doing some cool stuff down in Florida. Let's go down there.
I would not be surprised when the American Civil War strikes off, the second one, because, you know, sequels are very popular in America.
Yeah.
We're going to see Florida,
America 2, Electric Boogaloo.
split with Alabama and Louisiana and a lot of the South states into a giant red dick.
Alabama would be like the balls, almost.
Alabama's kind of like the belly.
The belly?
You know, the belly that covers over cover over the dick.
Okay. What would be the taint? The panhandle?
That would be no, that'd be New Orleans.
Because it's kind of moist there all the time. Doesn't really do much.
The only time you ever hear of it is when it's inflamed or flooded.
I like this. All right, so we're going to gather with all these states. We're going to make the giant dick of America. Got dizzy, man. Too hard. I was very, very happy, man. And that's, that's about it. I just recently started getting into like local politics here, following things that are, outside just the federal government and our resident in chief.
So fun fact about new politics in the modern era, is something called gang stalking. So gang stalking is the idea of hiring professional boogeymen who follow kind of like John Wick, without so much of the violence, but a lot of the popping up everywhere.
Oh, okay. None of the violence. All right.
And this has become the way of, if you don't vote correctly or if you go against us, we're going to follow you, find out where your kids are, show up and look like we're observing you, but doing so professionally. So
professional intimidation.
Right. It's professional intimidation. It's goon squad. It's very much a Stasi technique. Is
this proven that gang stalking is actually real?
Russia conducted experiments called Stasi.
Stasi?
Yeah, STA. Fuck, I want to say TSI.
Okay, gang stalking. Because there was I did a little bit of research in this. There was a guy, I think, what was he, in Pennsylvania? I don't fucking know. He claimed that he was being gang stalked. He had cameras all outside of his house. There was constantly vans driving by, parking outside of his house. At one point, he caught on camera the door to the van opening, and you could see like a giant camera inside. Kept claiming these people were breaking into his home, but he never caught anything really significant on camera. And then he kept saying, if I die, if I show up dead, it wasn't me, I'm not suicidal. And then he died, and the whole thing got swept under the rug.
You're talking about, it was somebody who was exposing a local police precinct.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And what he suspected, and you know what the worst fucking part is? I know some of the story, but I don't remember his name.
His name either.
But I do remember that he was investigating the local police element, and he just started to have harassment. But gang stalking is a very effective technique. It's kind of sickening how much we don't talk about in the media, how much intimidation a local politician has to go through to begin with. First off, you have to declare a side. And remember, politics is one of those things you can't quit. It's 24/7. It's like being deployed all the time.
That's true.
Meaning either your words are winning and you are popular with your demographic because your demographic is strongly behind you. Say, for example, I just did something simple like all of the streets will be clean. That's it. That's my entire goal. That's it.
Clean streets.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Clean streets. I'm not here for the drugs or the crime or the elements. I'm here to just clean up the streets. Literally clean.
Like physically clean.
Physically clean.
Street sweepers.
Simple plan. Ready? You take everybody who's on welfare, everybody who takes EBT, everybody who has a WIC, every single one of those persons. You get them by their address, their zip code. And they're responsible for once a week to go around their zip code and pick up the trash in a block around them.
I like that. I'm behind you. I support you.
That's it.
Tay Lon for governor.
But just imagine if there was a way for someone to just do their fucking job, not make a big deal about it, not try to punish people, but just be like, hey, you're on the services, do some service.
There should be more voluntary actions like this. In my neighborhood that I live in the middle of nowhere, which is weird when people go, you have a gate out here, is a volunteer kind of shindig that we have every Thursday where people will gather at the front of our neighborhood with trash bags and little grabbers, and we walk miles of dirt roads and pick up the garbage on the side of the road, keeping our neighborhood clean. That should be implemented everywhere. I say implemented, but somebody besides myself should take the reins and be like, hey, let's do this.
Therein lies the problem with politics. You're basically describing how somebody wants to be a politician. They see something simple that they want to change, and then they have to do a ritual to get it done. They have to go a ritual such as, it's high school all over again. It's a fucking popularity contest. You got to go around to the jocks, the geeks, the nerds, the gangsters, the thugs, the criminals, the friends, you know? You go up to everybody and be like, hey, I'm shooting for this, vote for me. And everybody asks the same fucking question. What's in it for me?
That's why I don't volunteer. That's why I don't go.
Altruism.
There's nothing in it for me. Somebody else will do it.
The concept of politics is altruism.
Altruism?
Altruism. It's to provide yourself as an example of humanity, to better humanity in the direction that we want to go.
Do you have to have a huge ego, in your opinion?
No,
be in politics?
I think right now you do, because you're competing against TikTokers and Instagram stars who are just flashing tits and ass and drugs and money. And that's what's the modern sensibilities being.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem is that it's not fucking fun. Politics isn't fun.
It's got to be fun for the people that partake in it, and that
it's a ritual.
Yeah.
But it's not fun anymore.
But there's a reason why they do it as a job. It is a job. I mean, you're suckling at the taxpayer's teeth.
Technically, the job that you end up in is the job that you have the most patience for.
A job that you end up is you have the most patience for. Construction workers. I'm sure they don't want to do that.
Are you kidding me? You get to see something physically being built that will last for years, maybe in far beyond your own life and death.
Devil's advocate here. What about the gentlemen that have to dig the ditches?
Ditch diggers?
Do they get to say, look at this building I built? Do they get to be in on that game? Or are they, I dug the ditch that the concrete got poured into? Other than that,
I dug a shit ditch in Iraq.
A shit ditch. I've dug several of those. Granted, most of them were just for me. But then they always had that one place when you were all hey, this is where you're going to go shit.
The designated shitting area.
Yeah, and you'd go there in their flat. Tell you this, if you were to have murdered somebody and you knew you were going to die and you hadn't been caught, on your deathbed, would you tell anybody?
Depends if I'm writing a novella.
A novella?
Yeah, the best part about having a fucked up life is that you can tell stories about it.
Isn't a novella
fantasy?
Isn't a novella a Spanish soap opera?
No, it's just a novel.
It's just a novel? Oh, okay. Well, that happened to a man named James Washington.
Oh.
He killed somebody and was on his deathbed. Well, the fortunate part is he didn't actually die. So then when he came out of his coma, he got convicted of murder. So he had a bunch of strokes. He was already in prison for attempted murder, but he had a bunch of strokes and he thought he was going to die. He was on his deathbed. And they're getting ready to pull the plug on this motherfucker. So he admitted to this murder that happened like 15 years prior. And then he made a full recovery. And yeah, a year later, he was also sentenced on that murder as well. He tried claiming that he was hallucinating, but they definitely tied him to it. It was a Nashville inmate convicted of murder after the brutal 1995 crime.
Never talk to cops.
Exactly.
Never.
Even on your deathbed. That's why I was curious that,
no,
you know, at what point should you talk to cops?
That's the thing. They've made it so that politicians and police officers are symbols that you should trust that you can't.
I wonder how many, the practice that it took to get people to see police officers, especially like boomers and stuff, as these heroes to society.
It used to be that we were more culture-based. We didn't have this gypsy lifestyle where we were forced to travel long distances to chase corporation jobs to get paid enough to pay rent.
Everyone lived pretty much close to each small city,
right? And each city had its own specialty for either manufacturing. I lived in Jersey, so we had a lot of different specialties depending on what county you were in. You know, you could have Cumberland County, you could have, which was great for growing things, and then up north it was great for spending money because that's where the political buildings were, you know. But every place had its own specialty. You know, you had milk, you had grapes, you had cheese, you had dairy. There was a lot of different industries that grew up. You had glass and glass blowing. You had metal workshops. But each one of these kind of grew around the whole system around them. You know what I'm saying? So it became part of the community that would work there, also lived there and commuted there. And then that dropped to the wayside and I watched this as Walmart started getting bigger. Walmart got bigger, and then all these other companies started pushing. Like Wawa became a big thing in the Northeast, but it started, you know, in Philly.
Wawa started in Philly?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
They exploded. Yeah,
Pennsylvania, and they closed their Pennsylvania store because of the violence that was escalating there.
Everything was real, kind of centralized, local. Everything was local.
Well, and then they removed the family unit. They split the vote between male and female, and then after that, they split the family because it became less about the family unit voting together to make things, you know, the issues, the politics itself became less about religion and culture and more about hobbies.
In your opinion, when was the family unit kind of on the decline? Was that the 60s?
I think the family unit was on decline ever since we purged 2 generations of alpha bitches in World War I and II.
Oh, okay. I was just actually catching up on a bunch of World War I and World War II.
The most people that went to World War I and II weren't the brainiacs. They were we have a lot of fucking power and testosterone and muscle strength type.
There's a great movie called All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix. Watch it if you haven't yet. Fantastic movie. It's no 1917, which I've explained is one of my favorite war movies, but it actually is from the view of a German soldier in World War I. Oh, it's fantastic. And how these kids were so pumped and how they brainwashed them essentially to, you know, you're going to have to fight and die for your country. Everything's so great. And they're getting uniforms that, you know, were just freshly washed and drained of blood and patched with, you know, they patched up the bullet holes.
Oh, so modern day Reddit Ukrainian soldiers.
Right, yes. And then they take these kids.
I can't wait till they do. I want them to, all right, imagine this, all right?
Yeah.
You take the style of Instagram Live, you make it as a camera to record a fake war movie about the Ukrainian Redditors that became mercenaries in Ukraine to follow their bloody exploits.
That's a genius idea, but how do you make it longer? Because I'm sure they all got gunned down within a matter of seconds.
You end the movie when the building collapses.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Why has nobody thought we're going to do an audio trademark on this? When is that going to be okay to do? 10 years?
No, right afterwards.
I mean,
you got to remember the worst and best part about comedy is how hard it cuts.
Oh, this is a comedy.
Yeah.
This isn't some brutal warfare. This is just comedy all the way.
Yeah.
Who are we going to get to direct this thing? Should we get Ben Stiller? He did a really good job with like Severance and stuff.
No, he's moved up into but he's moved up more into serious like with
psychological
Severance.
thrillers. Damn it.
So we need somebody who has a sense of humor. So that means Seth Rogen's out.
I was going to say Seth Rogen can't do it because he's kind of, you know, super left now. We don't want to offend anybody. He wouldn't want to offend anybody.
The last I saw about him was he was making another hot dog movie, Sausage Party 2.
Really?
Yeah. I never cared about his comedy movies. Not since what was the one that had motherfucker.
This Is the End.
No.
Knocked Up.
See, the problem with doing a podcast when you smoke weed is that
I don't know how you're smoking. I haven't seen you since that. I'm literally sitting just across from you. But when that happens, all I can tell is that throughout the 2 hours, your eyes slowly become way more Asian than they normally would. And you're eating potato chips. I can't even tell. See? There's no background noise. It's Speaking of which, do you think you're better at games than me?
100%.
Sure. We've been playing chess lately.
We have.
And
I was almost tempted to play it live, but I don't think you have the attention span.
I don't. I appreciate you not, because I kept looking up going, do I have to make a move? Do I have to make a move?
Yeah. But, see, here's the thing about this, right? Focusing on more than one thing at once is incredibly difficult to do.
Oh, I agree. Especially when you've been getting high, which makes me kind of ashamed that we were born in the wrong time, especially you. Because if you were born like the 60s, the first edition of Rolling Stones magazine, which is a pile of shit now, but back then, free roach clip. You know that? Came with it.
Phenomenal.
Yes. You could read about musicians.
Although I will say this, since we're talking about new revolutions, psychedelic mushrooms are now available in Denver, Colorado. They decriminalized psychedelic mushrooms, and now you can buy it in stores.
Like at dispensaries?
Yeah.
Or at the Walmart there?
Not the Walmart. It was never the Walmart for weed either in Colorado.
Walmart gets on every single bandwagon. You can get screened for cancer at Walmart now.
Walmart's old fucking slogan used to be "Made in America."
That's an old slogan. They kicked that slogan to the curb. They kicked it in its balls and shoved it out of the traffic.
And it'll have to come back again now that we're speaking about talking politics. When are we going to remove foreign influences out of our social media when it comes to impacting our elections? No bullshit. The level of bribery from Chinese to our politicians, like, even if you catch them, there's no punishment for it because they don't want to stop the pipeline of currency. You know what I'm talking about?
In the same
like
club,
the fucking bribes of even the Ukrainian bribes with Joe Biden. We're talking about the Burisma Corporation using his son, Hunter Biden. That's a huge fucking no-no to talk about, but yet it is a bribe.
Absolutely.
Now we're spending billions and billions in a war towards, and we can't even afford sidewalks in America.
You know, Russia's, but
what's the point of local politics if it doesn't suit to make your local area better? The idea of the family unit being the central focus was that a family knows how to grow because unlike someone who's only in it for their specific morals, they're committed to the future. They're committed to growing things. They have to be, for their children's sake, to have streets to go to have hospitals, to have police elements that are there to serve and protect them. We have this huge fucking culture divide because instead of being American, everybody wants to be an African American. Everybody wants to be a Chinese American. Everybody wants to be a Palestinian American. Everyone wants to be an Irish American.
Yeah.
For what reason? Once you're an American, you should drop everything from your home country. You're an American.
Whoa, buddy, that's my identity that you're messing with. That Irish part of me. That's what makes me me. Is the fact that, you know,
what makes you
many years ago,
is the desire to shoot hot loads into hot bitches.
Yeah.
And also your desire to own and operate firearms.
Okay.
And your desire to shit talk anybody you want to shit talk in the world.
That's what makes me me?
Yeah, that's what makes you an American.
I appreciate that. I am an American.
Exactly. We don't apologize for shit that's outside of our control, because that's whataboutism.
I'm sorry for apologizing all the time.
You know what?
I really hope you can.
You make a great fucking politician with words like that.
Why? Because I can apologize and not really mean it?
Yes. Yes, and I think it has a lot to do with having kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I apologize to them all the time. I never mean it.
Never?
Never.
Not once.
You
can't think of one time that you truly meant it?
There might have been once when my daughter lied to get my son in trouble, and I just took it out all on him, and then I found out that she lied. Is that you? And I found out that she lied, and then I had to apologize. But even then, he had been kind of an aggressive little shit that day, so I didn't mean it.
Don't get caught.
That's right.
Don't get caught.
I always like to tell them, quit coming in my room and tattling on each other. Shut up and get out.
Well, you are daddy. They need your judgment on everything.
Only I could get my lady to call me dad. Then I'd be set. You into that?
Went to the what?
Into being called daddy.
Oh, I thought you said, did you go to that? No, I didn't go to Daddy Con this year.
You didn't? You don't like being called daddy?
I mean, I will be, but not yet.
I mean, by a lady. By a lady that's...
Every fucking time.
Oh, daddy.
This dad thing is because daddy wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's it. Daddy was not there. And it's okay. I don't have to be there for them. Just like their own dad.
Isn't it?
It's like when you ask a single mother if you want to add their ex as an emergency contact for their kids.
Their ex? Who would... As the emergency contact?
Yeah.
Well, they should if it's their ex and it's their mom.
Yeah, but you just make a point that you should always ask if you get their phone number. If they should get...
on a more serious note, have you ever discussed with your partner about how you will parent if things don't work out between you?
Absolutely not. That's assuming failure.
But how do you know that that person isn't going to turn into a complete psycho crazy lunatic and just try to take every little thing from you?
I've already had stepmothers.
Yes, but the taking of the child, wouldn't you want to know and be 100% sure? Did you sign anything?
I suppose that we went into relationships differently. I spent a long fucking time with various people to figure out who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And what I want out of a relationship. And then I spent even longer finding someone who I want to have a kid with. If it doesn't work out between us,
yeah,
that's going to be outside of my fucking control to begin with.
But as of right now, you're in it to you're saying, hey,
I'm in it to win it. The idea of assuming failure, of plotting that things won't work out, is inviting that sort of energy into your life to begin with.
But so prenups are not a thing in your opinion. You shouldn't have a prenuptial agreement.
I don't believe that you should get married inside of the system that America represents anyway. It was a strictly religious doctrine that became nothing more than a tax break associated with it.
It would make
it's actually
a breakup more difficult being married.
No, not really. It just makes lawyers make money.
But it definitely can make it if you're not married and you split from your partner, that would be 100 times easier without a child. It would be 100 times easier than if you had a document, because any sort of debt that she had would become yours, and any sort of debt you had would still be yours, because of course the women are going to be treated differently. You know what I'm saying?
No, because I thought we were talking about politics, and you really went on to this tangent, so I'm a little lost.
Yeah.
Because again, it sounds to me like you heard that I said that you're assuming failure, and you're hammering in even more failure.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure what your point is.
You said that marriage outside of
a tax break
is a tax break, but marriage without getting some sort of government document is the way it should be. And I agree with you, because if you're not married and you split, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to recover.
Because what we've done is we've made a system that punishes those who express the religion by making the punitive damage. It's so easy to break a contract, but what used to be the reason that people stayed in marriages to begin with was the societal standard and pressure. It was the idea that when you were committed to another human being, you were actually committed to them. They weren't just a sexual partner for you to slam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And again, this comes a lot back to the breakup of the family unit to the individual. We're just having these... Why would guys get married if they get punished for being married? Right? Question.
Right.
Legitimate question. Thought exercise. The fuck would you get married for?
My wife said marriage is strictly a religious entity. Strictly, tax break is a civil union.
And
so a civil union would be marriage.
And yet, marriage was about bonding the assets between two lordly clans to begin with. The idea of taking... Again, Americans and fucking a lot of the world has this spoiled mentality of expectation of treatment, right? And that's where you get a lot of culture clash from.
Expectation of treatment from whom? From everybody else?
From everybody else. For example, take an American woman, a Karen,
okay.
and
Okay.
put her into
That's
and
gross.
put her into a Middle Eastern bar.
Oh, should have a heart attack. Kidding me?
Or just have her talk shit to a man who isn't raised from a country that they don't slap them. What it is the punishment is society's pressure to you never hit a woman. It's actually a federal offense to hit a woman in the face.
In the face.
In the face.
Everything else fair game?
Federal offense to hit him in the face.
Damn.
I'm not going to break your fucking laws down, brother. I'm never, ever, ever going to be your lawyer.
I'm trying to figure out a way around this, is all I'm saying. That's what I'm doing.
You didn't know this, though.
No, I didn't.
No, it is.
So if it's a federal offense to hit them in the face.
In the face.
Okay. All right, I'm going to look that up because I believe you, but I want a way to skirt
Trust but verify.
I want to find a way to skirt around this.
The idea is that there are physical differences between men and women.
Oof. Thin ice there, buddy.
Right?
I'm not quite sure
Again,
about
this
that.
didn't used to be contentious back when religion was the forefront. Although I do like how Elon Musk is handling Twitter now. If you want to, when you sign up for a new account, you're either a male, female, or
Unsure?
If it says anything else, they refer you to a mental health hotline.
No, nuh-uh. For real?
Yeah. This is real for at least 24 hours.
Oh, shit. This whole thing with Elon Musk, this poor dude, man.
I love him. We need more shit talkers.
Yeah.
We need more people who are willing to take risks. I just find it sad that billionaires are the only people who are making progress because they're small enough to have a bunch of loyal ones, right? Or you get to the size where you get noticed by the system and the system offers you a bribe. Either you take the bribe and take the script or you get crushed.
What was the bribe he took, you believe?
I think that Elon Musk is not allowed to pull a Kanye and name the Jews. He doesn't want to name Jewish people in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, he's alluded to it in various tweets that got a lot of heat. But it's just like anything else now. They're trying to make names. They're trying to make naming things verboten. Trying to make it forbidden to speak certain words in a certain pattern, or else it becomes a bad thing. And this mindset is rooted in fear. That's what I'm saying. A lot of this is fear. So politicians use fear to gain advantages. Fear of your neighbor, right? Your neighbor's your bad guy. You've got to report on him. He might be a Republican. Might be a Democrat. You know,
He might be unvaccinated. He might not be wearing a mask.
he might not be wearing a
He
mask.
might be going outside and not social
He might
distancing.
be outside past the curfew and walking his dog to take a shit.
Yeah, this is literal, quite literal. 'Cause
Yeah.
This is
What
actual
they've
fear-mongering
done
that's
is
happened.
they've turned the citizens, instead of relaxed, minding their own fucking business, wanking one out, taking a smoke, flirting with hot bitches, catcalling on the streets. They took that from us and replaced it with a bunch of soy boys who have opinions, and they will let you know.
Soy boy, beta.
And it has a lot to do with lawyers. So because people don't,
Explain.
our culture went from an honor-based society to a rat-based society is the best way I can say it. Bunch of fucking rats running around.
Everybody's winning it for themselves.
And if you get daddy's attention, whoever the bigger rat is, and you can prove to daddy just at that time that you're right, then daddy's going to smack the other rats.
Okay.
And that's the whole game. We're just playing and everybody wants to be a politician because they want to get the record deal or they want to get millions of dollars from a company so they can brand it and say 3 words and get money, my face everywhere. Everybody can remember me.
From an honor-based to a rat society.
Yeah, we're a rat society now. We're a bunch of rat fucks.
What happened to crabs in a bucket?
We are crabs because we'll drag people down, but we're rats because we have no problem eating through each other to get through there.
Okay, that's the point I thought you were making.
Rat crabs.
And you did it.
Horrifying mental image.
Rat crabs. That's like a whole new STD I don't even want to know about.
Rat crabs. They crawl down your leg.
And?
Across the sand.
Don't touch that hoe. She's got rat crabs.
I'm telling you, man. The fear that they're going to put on us now that the midterms is over, midterms 2022, is going to be, here's the things that they haven't been talking about. For a few months while they worked on their electoral college votes, they have monkeypox, they've got the diesel fuel crisis. Don't forget that now that Roe v. Wade has been repealed, as well as, I believe, the Planned Parenthood versus Clarissa, now the United States government can put whatever they want inside of our bodies. It's not just about abortion.
Whatever they want, how? Like if I go to the doctor?
I think what they're going to end up doing is mandating vaccines. That's really their next step. Once they can control what they put in your body, it's game over.
When you mandate vaccines, you have to be ready for some sort of revolution, because they tried that in 2020 and 2021. And the pushback, especially here in America, was so strong.
The media wouldn't have you believe it, though. The cult of control just whipped their dick out and said, nah, what you talking about?
Yeah, everybody's getting it. You should too, and if you don't, then you're killing your grandma. I mean, in other countries, they were literally dragging folks out of their houses and injecting them in the streets.
That's because America has guns. See to the Second Amendment.
That's right. Touche. We do have, like, not only do we have guns, we pretty much have all the guns.
Waco, Ruby Ridge. You know, we have examples where the Ted Brady farm where everybody showed up with guns. You know what I'm saying? There are circumstances. What American media and culture try to encourage is a lack of knowledge. You're supposed to be an obedient slave and never fight back, no matter how tight the noose gets.
The informers are trying to keep you uninformed.
Yes.
And getting paid to do it.
Yes.
And acting as the know-it-all while making you dumber and dumber.
While getting artificial titles from universities, honorary PhDs, in order to sound like they have more weight.
That's just because a couple of guys got together and said, we said this PhD
well, here's the
is a
flip
thing.
side. Yeah, that's all well and good, but think also about comedians or whoever they're pushing. Think about comedians. Comedy is supposed to be the edgiest part of culture, but
yes,
as we've seen, they've controlled what comedy is acceptable for a few years. See also Kathy Griffith and mimicking Elon Musk and saying a whole bunch of shit on Twitter, right? And getting banned because she didn't have parody in the title.
Elon Musk did not ban her. He owns Twitter, yes, but that whole you cannot plagiarize has been implemented way before he bought the company. That was an actual thing.
But remember, it doesn't matter. Facts don't matter.
No, they don't, because
it's all about feelings.
Because anything that happens to Twitter now, anybody that gets banned, anybody that gets kicked off, it's going to be blamed on Elon Musk. Like, he's the only person in that building, clickety-clackety, typing on his computer.
But
ban,
I like this. No. I like this change. We should encourage this for every company. All companies are no longer their company name, they're the CEO name.
So the CEO... So instead of calling it Twitter, we're going to call it Musk?
Yeah.
Walmart would be... Well, they're actually named...
Right, but you see what I'm saying? Just follow the logic. Everybody would then know the CEO's name.
Instead of the CEO being able to hide behind...
the company to get a golden parachute and then go to another company. I'm just tired of the ExxonMobil business model where they sell hype, and then when it all comes crashing down, they turn out their pockets and get a nice fat check.
Love it. I love it. The Walmart would be called Sam Walton. A couple more. See what else. What kind of names we would have.
Look up what is ABC? What's CNN? What's Fox?
These aren't the CEOs. These are the founders, right? Because a lot of these have different CEOs over the.
Well, no, because then if you just do founders, then what happens when a different owner is part of a mega corporation? See, the biggest fear we used to have was megacorps, right? Judge Dredd, fucking Cyberpunk. What came before that? Shadowrun.
70s Judge Dredd, or
I like 70s Judge Dredd.
a new Judge Dredd.
I like Stallone's Judge Dredd.
The costumes and outfits were absolutely wild.
The new one is all right, but I wanted more movies, and they didn't make any.
This CNN would just have to stay CNN because we can't call it the Reese Schonfeld channel.
Yeah, we can.
The Reese Schonfeld. I can't even pronounce that.
Yeah.
News Network. Maurice Wolf Reese Schonfeld.
There you go. Just start naming names, right? Take that all to the porn industry too.
Oh yes. Do you have a favorite channel?
No, I quit porn.
Me too.
I really, 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 really find that it's just boring. It's fun to watch with someone. Porn. It's not so much fun by yourself.
Or with, like, the bros, right?
With the bros, you can do a Dutch rudder. Or everybody can sit around. Or you could have a dock fight.
A dock fight?
Yeah.
Dock fight?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you put them together?
Yeah, just the tip.
It's called docking, but one of them has to be uncircumcised, right? So you can then...
So you can
literally, like a USB cable,
enter the tunnel of love.
Yes, there you go.
Man, brutality.
I'm sure there are some idiot college students, a bunch of bros right now, just naked on a couch, having some sort of contest.
Are you kidding me?
Having a contest where they turn on porn.
All they have to do is add some colored, glow-in-the-dark condoms, and they can play Star Wars.
There you go. You do a contest this way. Last person to get chub or something wins. But then you could flip it the other way around, and if it was gay porn, the first person to get chub, I mean, then that guy's...
That's a race to the finish.
I would want to be dead last if it was the gay porn.
Have you noticed how much man butt there is in TV shows nowadays?
They're trying to appeal to the female audience. Women look more than men. That's sexy people in movies. You know this, right? They absolutely do. If Captain America's ass. Yeah, that's Captain America's ass right there. That's a great ass. Women are looking at that way more than men. Big, giant, hulking bodies. So when they say, "Look at this female representation in this video game. Look, it's just some busty chick, that's scantily clad." Yeah, that's for the men. But the other giant, ripped figures in these action films, that's for the women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like big dudes.
Well, not all of them, but yeah.
When's the last time we saw a dad bod?
In a
Call Saul?
In a dad bod, probably would be Nobody.
Nobody was a good one. He did both of those roles. Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, Bob Odenkirk is the man. That's one of the things I liked about the movie Nobody was the fact that he wasn't some giant ripped,
perhaps ready to go,
exactly.
Huge secret, huch industry.
You can't hit me, you can't stab me. Oh, he got
whooped.
Oh yeah, but he still gritted his teeth and came back with a vengeance.
There was a movie called Shoot 'Em Up that I was a huge fan of. It had a lot of single shots, but what I really enjoyed about it is it was a shooting movie where he would get hurt. Because in a shooting movie, usually when somebody gets shot, they're dead or they're dying.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get shot and you can keep going. It's a flesh wound. They never really show that. It's like they want you to think that once you get shot, you're done. In media.
They do. In these movies, you can get shot in the arm and then you're dead just like that.
Right.
No gurgling. You just hit the floor and you're done.
Ask any police officer about a man on PCP. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That PCP, we have Flocka. Flocka's a big one. Not only will you eat off your neighbor's face, but then it takes 17 rounds to get you to go down.
Flocka? I thought fentanyl was the big thing. What's Flocka?
Flocka? Remember all the news reports we had few years ago of the zombies here in Florida?
No, I must have fucking missed this.
Flocka is the zombie drug.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Was this about what 6 years ago?
Yes.
So that is the reason that I did not go out into a college town
because of Flocka.
Because it was you know, I was in a Florida college town with a lot of college kids, and I'm like, one of you is going to be dumb.
Just taking some bath salts and then try to chew on somebody's face. Yeah. Some young kid, 19, a college student, like you said, killed his neighbor, like ran into the garage and killed him right there in the garage, and doesn't really remember it happening.
See, I'm not so much worried about the stories. Zombies chewing people's face off. Yes.
Absolutely. And of course, this is the start of the zombie apocalypse. Now we really are in the zombie apocalypse, but it's people on their phones. But back then it was Flocka. Yeah.
And, you know, Astro World and the Itaewon event both kind of proved that. But what I'm more scared about is this fentanyl crisis.
Yeah, there's no crisis. Don't worry about it. The border's fine. Fentanyl's not
We've
killing.
Had, what? There's a...
4.5 million.
No. I was thinking about just yesterday. There was 50 cal technicals having a gunfight between Mexican cartels on the Texas border.
Really?
Yeah.
50 caliber rifles they were using?
Yeah, they had 50 cal strapped on trucks.
No shit.
Yeah, they're called technicals, and they were, you know, shooting at each other while racing.
Was the race for fun, or were they really trying to kill each other?
Really trying to kill each other.
Damn,
you think they're in competing drug markets,
That's
man.
heavy. The competing drug markets.
Yeah, it's a hot market out
That's
there.
That's right. Stay
you
out of
know?
our country. We don't need any more competition. We got all the pill mills here in Florida. Get people addicted to oxycodone and then move them right on up to heroin.
But the reason that fentanyl's so fucked up is it kind of kills the chemical game.
Yeah, fentanyl every 22 days kills about around the same amount of people as 9/11.
Toyota Helixes would be my favorite type of technical. I know we're not asking, but I'm fucking telling.
The Toyota Helix?
Yeah, because it had on the underside of the truck, it had this X shape.
Yeah.
Under the bed. It has never been replicated on any truck that I've seen since, but it was given to a whole bunch in Iraq. I remember seeing these fucking technicals, man. I was envious. I just wanted to have a Toyota when I came home.
Okay. Yeah, that's a slick looking truck. I mean, granted, these are all 2023s, but I could see you mounting some sort of gun on there, especially with this nice slick ass snorkel sticking out.
I'm telling you, man, it's legitimately one of the best trucks that has ever been made for a technical. And if they had it in America, I would have one with a 50 cal on top of it.
Yeah. And anytime you would see footage of, you know, these the Taliban driving around from city to city, they were all in these slick white Toyotas.
Although I would go for an M320.
An M320?
An M320 is a rapid fire grenade launcher.
Really?
Yeah.
What? I've never even heard of this. Did you ever get to shoot one?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
The coolest thing I ever shot was the AT-4 or something like that. It's a missile launcher. Feels like someone's kicking you in the chest every time you fire that thing off.
It's because you have baby bitch arms.
No, that's big from the explosion.
And the M203 is the underslung grenade launcher.
Yeah, M203s are fun, but I hate aiming them.
I love aiming them because it's just... You never played Castle Crash, or not Castle Crashers, Angry Birds? It's like Angry Birds.
Angry Birds at least gives you a little dotted line for people who have...
They do too! It's the fucking thing that you kick up. The sight range. The 50 meter to 100 meter, 150, 200, that rectangle
you gotta
with the
hold
cut.
It all weird. I know. I did. I shot inside of windows and stuff, and got to make sure you aim properly, but...
You remember that plumber in Texas that traded his F-250 to the dealer, then ISIS got a hold of it? Man, we're talking about
in Texas.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you didn't know, I'm about to tell you some wild shit about car dealerships. So, everything that never gets sold goes to a graveyard. It's like this graveyard where they just let them rot. It's better to see them over in Britain because they have a giant field of it, but we do the same thing in America. since the chip shortage that happened, what, last year, the past couple of years, we haven't had a lot of vehicle inventory. That's why the prices are so high. It's artificial because it's made out of fucking plastic. It's not made out of metal. You can't tell me it's worth that much, right? But the craziest thing is these dealerships get better deals selling fleets to interested parties. They don't give a fuck what the parties do with it. They don't care if they ship it overseas and use it for war purposes. It's all about the deals.
A fleet is just, hey, we're going to sell you 50 cars. Here's the price.
Yeah.
Whoever's buying them gets a better deal, but they're kind of stripped. It's not like you're getting a fully loaded, F-250 like this.
I just wonder if they had his VIN number on the outside or if they kept his license plate. You know what I'm saying?
Send it over right as is.
You ever have your license plate where you've changed your fucking license plate, but you'll still get, like, the license plate will go from your truck to a FedEx truck, and the FedEx truck will run stoplights, so they'll send it to your mailing address.
You get a fucking ticket for it, yeah.
Yeah, they try to send it to your mailing address as a ticket, and you're like, not my problem.
That happens with, not to that extreme, but mail that I get.
They didn't even take off the logo? Good. I want to see new car commercials where they get jihadis advertising it. Oh, I think this one will be good. Car bomb. PT Cruisers would be perfect for car bombs.
Because everyone would be making fun of it until it exploded in their face?
First off, imagine nobody likes looking at them, so you're automatically blind to them. Second off, they have terrible crash ratings, so if you're going to crash, you're going to explode anyway.
PT Cruisers were so cool looking when they first came out because all cars were essentially big boxes. Then someone invented the PT Cruiser, and after 6 months, nobody gave a shit anymore. Then they tried to reinvent it with that Chevy HHR.
Oh, don't even try me. You got the Scion coming out from nowhere. Then the fucking, what was that other box car that was huge? the Kia Soul.
The Kia Soul,
oh,
yes.
Yeah.
But Scion, that was such bullshit because they advertised themselves as you can get this car and you can do anything you want to it. Highly customizable. And then nobody customized it. And it was a bunch of idiots driving around in the XBs. Apology to anybody that bought the XB.
Again, you're not Canadian. Your apologies are offensive to me and my culture as being an American.
I apologize for apologizing.
You know what? Your apology's not accepted, and now we're going to go to war.
And unfortunately, they sold so many of those XB that Nissan said, let's do it and make a cube. And you had a bunch of these idiot cubes driving on the street. Oh, man. Those in the smart cars. Ugh. Get rid of them.
Sat in the back of one of those square ones. I think it was, I don't want to say it's a Kia Soul, but it was probably a Kia Soul.
Cube or the XB? They're big, though.
The
in the
Cube.
Back. You can smash in there. If I could smash in the backseat of an 87 Camaro.
It felt really weird having so much room in the upper right and upper left-hand corner.
It's almost like you teleported into another dimension because you can't imagine it being that big inside of there.
It makes you kind of believe that the Honda Fit was the perfect car, and we weren't prepared for it.
I love the Honda Fit.
You too?
You like the Honda Fit?
I do. Not ironically.
Really?
Because I used to own a Beetle, and I thought the Honda Fit is the spiritual successor to the Beetle. It was reasonably priced for for what it was.
Absolutely.
It's like that fat chick that everybody had a ride with.
Like a sexual ride with?
Why do you have to make things sound like a high school teacher interrogation?
Because I was a high school teacher for 3 years.
Wow.
You said the fat chick that everyone rode with, as in, like, hung out with?
There's some things you should never admit on public television. That's one of them. Saying that you're a teacher. Did you fuck any of your students?
What do you mean? Who didn't? I mean, should I not have done that? Was that against the law?
It depends if any of them complain about it.
No, they don't definitely complain.
Then you'll be all right.
Snitches get stitches. They know that very, very well.
Which leads us back to gang stalking in politics. So I believe that automobile industry should start doing politics.
Automobile industry.
I think that instead
getting into politics.
Yeah, I think what we should do now is that all politicians have to do a mandatory course as a car salesman.
Okay.
And then they have a giant tournament to see who wins regional for the car salesman, and then that person goes into the ballot of who gets elected as a politician.
Oh shit. If car companies were essentially politics, which car company would be Republican? Which company would be Democrat?
All right.
And which company would be libertarian? Then you got that stupid...
Libertarian would be Ford.
Ford?
Ford's libertarian.
Because they can't...
They can't make up their fucking mind.
They can't make up their mind. They
don't know if they want to be an EV. They don't know if they want to be... You know what I'm saying? They don't know if they want to be EV. They don't know if they want to be diversity. They just want to be there and in the conversation. That's really what they are. They're a libertarian.
Yeah, okay. Got Ford as a libertarian.
So Ford's a libertarian.
All right. I would say Ford to be Republican because they make good shit, but everybody else makes fun of them.
Yeah, but the electrical systems burn out.
That's my point. They make fun of them because they break down. Build Ford tough, and then you're side of the road.
Just rewire them. You'll be fine.
I don't know anything about wiring. Who's our car company that's Democrat?
Oh, absolutely. Tesla.
Tesla
makes a lot of promises, doesn't ever keep any of them.
Touche.
Can't even fill their regular orders before they're selling something else to someone else.
Remember when he came out with that
getting government subsidies?
Yes. Oh, he was so excited about that damn Cybertruck.
Listen, I think he was more excited that he made the name Cybertruck. You know what I'm saying?
The actual Cybertruck
than the
itself?
actual Cybertruck.
Did look like something out of Cyberpunk. That 2077.
I do enjoy that fucking game way too much. I feel like an Adderall kid even mentioning it, but I've been playing the tabletop role-playing game from CD Projekt Red. Great game.
Tabletop.
Yeah, like D&D for people who really like cyber dystopia but don't want to step outside.
These tabletop games kind of force you into a fantasy world. And you have to... I like to see it. I like to see the action.
Imagination is what separates children from adults. And I'm proud to keep my imagination for as long as I have.
What's your secret? How did you do that?
I write and tell stories. Even this is just a story to me.
I still want to read some of your more risque things.
No, I'm never going to give you a boner. My promise to myself when I started writing in college...
Not give men boners?
No. My promise to myself when I started writing in college to make additional money was that I would never, ever meet someone that I gave a boner to.
So you're never going to publish these stories?
It would... No. It would never be something in which... you're reading in front of me, or that situation would never kick in. I would always use a ghostwriter.
I want to go
pseudonym.
home and read this in the privacy of my bedroom.
Right. But see, the thing is, I would never let you know where to look for it. It would just be under a name that you would find.
I'm not going to search for...
Can you believe what we were talking about beforehand? Speaking of midterms, and now that new shit's going to pop up from nowhere, that... police officers are training to handle furries now.
Oh, this is happening. Yes, this is an actual thing. They're training police officers to handle trans cats. Kids that identify as cats. And we had it from a good source that some classrooms are actually
happening in Florida now.
In Florida now?
In Florida now. That's where the sources we're talking about. In Florida, this bastion of red wave that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That's why I was laughing a little bit, because at the same time, they're also having classes about teaching people to have a safe space to lick themselves.
Do you really believe that police officers here in Florida are taking this training seriously?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. You have to take everything serious, because if you offend somebody's personal feelings, you can lose your job, your livelihood, your friendships, your social media accounts, your access to banks. You can get charged by PayPal for saying the wrong opinion, $2,500. You lose your Twitter account. You could be shadow banned on Facebook. These are so many glorious things for having an opinion that isn't what is told to you.
Whereas that stuff is true for the average person.
Not for me.
The Blue Line Gang is pretty strong. And depending on how long you've been with the department, they will back you and lie for you.
Exist.
You want what?
I want a new party to come up from all the veterans from wars.
What are you going to call this party?
The war veterans.
The war veteran party?
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of us.
Exactly. And what we should do is start asking the hard questions, like, how is it that this government budget is so damn high when we didn't see a goddamn piece of equipment or ammunition?
I like that. Important questions. Why does why is it hard to clean my fleshlight after like the 5th use?
Right. The hard questions. Ask a veteran. Right?
Veteran, yeah.
The veteran would be like, stop wasting your fucking life, you moron.
You have to sugarcoat it these days, bro. You
Stop
you can't just come out and call him a fucking idiot. Stop wasting your life. Well,
make bullying great again.
Make bullying?
Bullying.
Bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying actually needs to be a thing.
It needs to come back.
Yes.
That's what I was saying earlier. We've gotten to the point where we no longer use any sort of honor-based. So if we were to have a physical confrontation, this is hypothetical. You know how to get in a fight. Slapping hands. You break my nose.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a hard time breathing. It never heals. I sue you.
You take my money.
I take your money. What do we do? Whatever was the rise to that bait, you were punished for defending yourself. No matter how it was angled. I could have started the fight, but by me suing you, I've eliminated you financially. So I've become right.
Even if you were the one that started the fight.
Because we don't honor dueling. We don't have a physical way of settling differences that isn't death. That's why people go around and shoot each other now. It's a lot easier to shoot someone than have a conversation.
Have a conversation or wait for the courts to take up your plight and go through all that paperwork. So the veterans...
While the lawyers make money, and the court makes money,
yeah,
and the government makes money for holding the case...
And the person gets screwed.
And the person, say if you're just... have a speeding ticket that's $115 that you can't pay. If you can't pay that ticket, you can go into debtor's prison.
So our slogan for the veteran party needs to be "Make bullying great again."
Yes.
You get that on a shirt.
I feel like we're just about to hit the attitude era of politics.
Attitude era?
Yeah. Trump was kind of the forefront of the attitude era for politics, meaning we're about to hit the wrestling period that was the greatest. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mankind, Kane, Undertaker, some of the greatest names.
In what?
Wrestling.
Ugh. All right, go ahead.
I didn't hear you name a single thing.
I don't know wrestlers.
You're a terrible human being.
I'm just yanking your chain, bro. Just yanking your chain.
Terrible human being.
I know exactly where it's so much. So yeah, so that he's the
No, but what we're heading into now is the attitude era for politics. Everybody's fucking divided, right? Politics is so boring as a subject matter, you gotta piss people off to get a point across.
And it definitely is working these days.
Of course.
Everybody is pissed.
But there's like football, you can't let it go. There's no seasonal ending to it. The game's not done because the players are still in motion.
And the players essentially get to stay playing until the day that they die, even if they never throw or catch the ball.
Yes.
They just can kind of be bench warmers.
Yes.
And collect a giant paycheck.
Correct. And this goes on forever while the energy that they harvest from people voting is used to distract them from the simplest answer.
The fans fill the stadium, and then people like you and I are like, you guys are so stupid. What are you cheering for?
They're cheering for the excitement of the moment. There's some good to be said about our political system. It's a hamster wheel for psychopaths.
I would never run for president, even if you paid me.
I would run for president on the only platform that matters. Shit talking.
But you are great at that.
I'm average. I've heard better.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I can pontificate and an insult in a debate, but I'm not there with a writer.
If you had a writer, you'd be unstoppable.
Perhaps. If I could also rhyme like Dr. fucking Seuss every time I talk, I could be unstoppable.
How old do you have to be become president?
35.
35?
Yeah.
Well, since we're way older than that.
We're younger than that.
I think
in spirit.
In spirit, being in our 40s, you could run.
We?
Yeah, not we. You could run. I'm not. When I say we, I'm just because we're both in the room.
The royal way?
Yeah, we could run. I'll vote for you.
You can sit on that sausage and spin on it.
Yeah, I'll do that all day, but you could run.
I would never want to run.
For what reason?
Politics isn't honest. I would tell people the honesty about it. We're out of money because we spent it all on welfare checks.
What would you cut as president? What would you get rid of first? Was it the welfare?
No. First off, I'd get rid of every single three-letter agency that exists.
Beautiful. No, you'd be dead before that happened.
I would, yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to get rid of the CIA. Bam!
The CIA, the FBI, the NSA.
You'd be...
And I'm going to destruct the federal power so that it goes more in the hands of the states to address their own personal issues, so that it doesn't go over the state boundaries, and that we limit our powers to very, very, very limited between us and the rest of the world. And the rest of the world can go fuck itself at this point. I firmly believe we should go into a state of isolationism and feudalism.
Isolationism, as in isolating yourself with just your family and those close to you?
I think what we need to do as a culture to survive is to go back to the family unit.
I'm doing that.
You're doing that.
You're doing that.
Yeah. And that from the family unit and voting everything, if you want to play the system, the game, right?
Yeah.
Because the system doesn't really give a shit about voting. But if you were to give a shit about voting, you would vote specifically, and the issues would organically grow around families. And that won't happen as long as there are so many politicians that can divide us over different labels and boxes, man. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not popular. Nobody gives a shit.
It's not.
They don't. Who cares about the fact that you are going to give me money? You're white. Fuck off. Your opinion doesn't matter. And this happens enough that it sinks into the collective mentality of dismissal and mockery that becomes part of the culture. And this is what I'm saying. We've divided ourselves by labels for so fucking long. There is no, like, neutrality. There's only extremism. We're at the point now where the next step is actual terrorist organizations vying for power. Basically, WASPs versus Black Panthers. Live. Then you add some MS-13 on top of that.
In your opinion, what would a restructuring of the government look like? I mean, we're already over our cap of 250 years.
The Nuremberg Trials 2.0.
The Nuremberg Trials. Would we, the people, be in charge of that? Would we have to essentially create...
Democracies usually go into tyrants, and then tyrants usually go into monarchies, and then monarchies usually go into republics.
Don't governments normally restructure naturally after like 250 years?
We become comfortable with what we get from welfare and from the minimum-based lifestyle and how good it is. And that was the exchange for not being rebellious. Breads and circuses has always been kind of the bribe that keeps us happy with the fact the electoral fucking college exists.
Not necessarily our founding fathers, but as the United States government started getting bigger and bigger, they almost looked at this and said, hey, within 250 years, a lot of these different countries are structuring their government. They kind of do like a reset. We don't want that to happen. So let them eat cake. We give them...
if we want to reset,
we give them...
reset back to the original ratified Constitution and work from there. And I'm not talking about the one that we've re-edited over the years until it says,
a shit ton of times.
Until it made us into a corporation. I'm talking about the original Constitution.
That's so wild that we are a corporation. So every 4 years, we just basically add another CEO.
Yeah, and the CEO runs the company, makes promises, does whatever the fuck they want, lies to the public, lies to their citizens, moves on, makes whatever deals, makes whatever money, quits, moves on to the next job, use their internal politic connections in order to get more and more positions. Lobbying, the real motherfucker was when corporations became people in politics, because that means that they can own land. And I think the reason that I know that we're fucked up as a culture and we need a reset is that you can't work one job and support a family.
No, inflation has done away with that.
You can't buy a house. You can't get a car. You can't get groceries. Can't pay your rent or your mortgage. All of this has gone away from one job, which was the family unit. One job, one family.
The man would go and bring back the money for his family.
As the breadwinner.
That's right. And the wife would stay home.
Because this
take care of the
mimics
kids.
This mimicked when we started going away from the natural order things, hunters and gatherers. Women are amazing at ruling the realm. They're a joy to be around. They really are. They cement and with love and boundless softness, you know?
They're supposed to, yes.
I'm not talking about tainted ideologies. I'm talking about our core, our most primal sense.
Yeah.
Is the man hunts, the woman gathers.
Gathers and nests.
And nests.
And creates a wonderful nest and home for
a tribe was the idea that many
hunter to come back.
Many hunters work together to bring bigger games for the tribe, so all can eat
while still being separated in their own homes and their own nests.
And their own nests could be dictated by whatever their individual beliefs were.
Yeah, and then what happened was eventually some hunters started wandering into other nests, and they didn't get kicked out of those nests, and then cucking became a thing, and now everyone's all.
Now you have modern day fucking dating scene where everybody's a cock for everybody.
The modern day dating scene has just been brought. Remember when you had to woo a woman and to win her appreciation?
Now you just have to have a swinging dick.
That's right. Now you just got to go onto an app and swipe left or right, looking at their face with the filters on it. You get together, and the women, this whole. What do they even call it, dude? It's
make up the fake up, glow up.
They could do the glow up, but they also, you can't say what I can and cannot do with my body. A woman with a high body count, I just find way more offensive than a man with a high body count. And I know a man's saying that, but fuck it. That's.
I want to flip size. That's because culturally,
yeah,
about as a man, when you're spreading your genetic DNA, it remains in the body of the woman.
Yes.
It's called chimerism.
Yep.
And this is a thing that happens. It's how slutface exists.
That's the slut face is when they take in so much of the male DNA that it literally will change
their sigmony. Yeah,
their sigmony. What was that? Their genetic structure, their DNA,
their face. No, their facial structure.
You can tell based on their face.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
DTF.
But to do this would be you'd be judging someone for their body count. Remember,
slut shaming. Get out of here.
Bullying in all sides except for what's system defended. The vibration and fear that they want to push. They don't want the family unit, so they have to emasculate the man. The weaker the man is, the less social cohesion there is. That's why now that there's a lot of kickback to Kyrie Irving getting kicked off of his basketball team for mentioning Hebrews to Negroes, which is right there, by the way. When I heard that, and I had the book on my own fucking shelf, I was surprised.
That's the book.
That's the book right there.
That's the book right there that he referenced that had him lose a whole contract for with the NBA.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's
and you can just buy that on Amazon?
On Amazon. So, Jeff Bezos can profit, but Kyrie Irving can't.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it's not some crazy book. It's just right there.
I did feel some tension when I walked by. My skin started itching and burning.
Oh, yeah, that must be the smallpox that I put in there. Got to test your COVID-19 shot.
Poor guy. That really stinks, considering not the fact that he
will not be making an appearance in this film, though.
This film?
Yeah, no.
Are we good with him?
We're good with him.
Yeah.
I mean, people move the fuck on. In 1 week, there's so much news that kicks on in between podcasts that sometimes you just have to have a podcast where you talk about everything that happened in the week.
That's what we did today.
Yeah, because so much politics,
Yay.
Car companies, Elon Musk firing most of the Indian branch of Twitter. There's no good morning for his sirs.
He was tired of people calling up and hearing that. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Would you like to buy an Amazon gift card?
Thank you. Come again. The stereotype, and then where I live.
There's no word I hate more in the world
than stereotype?
Yeah. Well, I think I might hate that more than any of the its or ists.
Well, what word can I use?
Labels.
The labels? I know I just think of label makers, which are a ripoff. And every time you buy one for 25 bucks, it works for like a day. Then you got to buy more of that paper that sticks. And where do you buy that stuff? It's not even anywhere.
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. I got to go to Amazon.
Right. How many mom and pop stores have died because of Amazon?
Lots.
How many
labels,
and Walmarts? How many computer repair stores do you see anymore?
Well, I mean, we live in a throwaway culture. If something breaks, you just go out and buy a new one. That's why all these older folks in their 60s and 70s, you know, when I was a kid, we had the microwave repairman come out. Well, that's because the microwave was actually pretty expensive in your time.
Well, and, the flip side is
$20
that we've entered in a period of unsustainable usage. We have phased obsolescence, which is an idea it's a corporate mindset that after a certain period of time, when your warranty breaks, your device should break so you buy a new one. Companies don't make money by you fixing something you already own.
Right. That's why. Who was doing that?
iPhone.
That was it. And a lot of car companies as well.
Yeah.
They make the bolts and the hardware that, you know, makes the car needs specific tools that only they make and that they charge an arm and a leg for.
Vacuum cleaners now most of them have a specialty bolt system in them.
So you have to buy the screwdrivers or the ratchet sets from the actual company to be able to work on the machine that you paid for.
Yes.
With your own money.
Yeah, a normal Phillips won't work. Or flathead. It's wild, but it is what it is. Because control is power. And power is control. And money is power. And politics is money. Because politics is popularity, is money, is power. Branding is money to power to companies. And power pays off politicians to allow the companies to build in areas where maybe they were only industrial before. Maybe they were only residential before. Maybe, like in Germany, they're going to dump a whole bunch of quicksilver into the rivers so that it kills everybody downriver.
Is that something that's happened?
That's something that happens. I love environmental disasters. They're fun to read about. Because what the fuck else are you supposed to do?
I do cringe a bit when I see people on the river fishing.
Technically in work. Shh. No, you're not actually here.
You see people fishing in these rivers and these ponds and these lakes that are just filled with so many chemicals because some idiot had to pour Roundup on his sidewalk outside of his house to kill the weeds instead of just pulling it out himself.
Okay.
It rains, it leaches into the water supply.
You brought it up, so I will say it. Grass, specifically grass that's designed for lawn, is the greatest threat to a green environment, sustainable.
I completely agree. Absolutely.
Grass is the worst for the fucking environment, and if we really cared as a culture about it,
we would get rid of it.
We'd get rid of grass and replace it with what grew there naturally.
Right. Tear it all up. That's it. People spend so much money keeping their grass green and perfectly manicured. It doesn't even grow here. It's not natural.
There are rules imposed by the fucking municipalities and governments that determine how big your grass can grow, right?
I did not.
Yeah. Everywhere. It's not just in, like, if you live in a city, you can't have grass that's over 3 feet.
Is this some sort of conspiracy with
yes, this is a tool of control. Yeah. Think about it. Who benefits from grass? Fertilizer companies, Roundup, weeds. What's happened ever since we've started having grass in suburbs everywhere? Bee death. Where the fuck are the bees?
They're just people claim they don't know, but the bees are essentially getting all these chemicals in their flowers. Also, essentially, cell phone towers as well is throwing off their ability to use their direction. Cell phone towers
is huge, and it fucks with. Remember, we were talking about it suppressing our immune systems as human beings by just floating in the 25 megahertz range.
Right.
We broke down the different megahertz for the different thing. Yeah, right. The reason illness is so bad now is because 5G towers. 5G doesn't make anything fucking faster. Why did we upgrade from 3G again? Because I haven't seen a significant speed upgrade at all.
Depends on where you are. It really does. But the 5G, you're right. No, you're absolutely correct. That's why I'm pointing at you and waving my hand at you in this fashion. But when it just says 5G on my phone, absolutely no difference. Why? What you need are those real high 5G ultra wideband waves, like permeating your brain, all that soaking into your vaccinated blood. And that's when you get your real speed. So not only are you cooking yourself, but hey, man, your cell phone's faster. You can download that Netflix show just a few seconds.
The greatest trick the government ever did was taking social media and turning it into a political tool against its citizens.
I agree. Pretty good trick. Also, the one where they take like the cloth and they put it in their hand and it disappears.
Yeah, that's cool too.
That's a good one too.
I like where they where we have artificial intelligence that can show and take any image and make it move around and talk. And then now, knowing that technology exists, no one can ever use video evidence in court again.
That's very true. That sucks. Well, it had a good run for about 10 years, though, didn't it?
It did. But it's going to be inadmissible because all you have to do then is prove that you can make a forgery.
Yeah, wow. What's her face did that? Was it Amber Heard?
Amber Heard with a turd?
Amber Heard with a turd. Didn't she cranked up the
That was filters when she was recording a video.
That's right. She cranked up the filters and edited the video. I mean, that's just a very small example.
But that's in the hands of one pissed off socialite.
Yeah. Just imagine if they get you on video, they can change the
Not
audio
on a
and the
baby
video
fucking politician
to make it say whatever they want. Oh, then people are fucked, and you can't use video anymore in a court of law.
Well, then also, too, you can't use audio.
Like something out of a James Bond film where they take that little sticker and put it on your throat and you have to say a couple sentences and then essentially that translated to anything else.
Well, now that we have technology that allows them to record who you are and how you sound and what you sound like, how can you ever say, yes, that recording was 100% that person?
Can't.
So if video and audio are now suspect, you know what that means? We've gone full circle. The only valuable asset on the field is a field agent. And all technology, the whole surveillance net that we have now is pointless.
So don't sign documents digitally. You want to do everything by hand and all with paper now.
On paper.
On paper.
The most secure way not to be hacked is to be 100% computer free as a business.
Well, that would make sense. If you're not on the computer, then you can't be hacked.
But think about it. Think about this. There's a spy agency out there right now that uses only paper.
Who is this?
If we knew, then they wouldn't be a great spy agency, would they?
Okay, touche. Using only paper. Man, that would be...
mandatory, none. It's the Amish spy network.
The Amish spy network?
Yeah.
Is this real? Is it a real thing? Or is it the Amish spy network? How do we get in on that? You know, I've always thought it'd be kind of cool to live as an Amish for at least a week.
You know, I would love to be in the Amish spy network.
Why is that?
Because then I could raise a barn.
I want to help you raise that barn.
With fire.
You're going to burn it down? You're going to burn it down to the ground?
R-A-Z-E. Terrible word
I bet
pun.
there are some freaky deaky...
Amish chicks?
Amish chicks. Oh, yeah.
It's like Catholic girls once they get out of Catholic school.
Oh, damn. There was... I can't...
You were about to reminisce.
I was about to reminisce.
You were about to reminisce.
Back in the day of LimeWire, when you could find the occasional porn on there, you know what I mean, and download it at 56K after your modem connected with space. Oh my god,
fucking LimeWire porn?
LimeWire porn, yeah, buddy.
Porn.
There was a great scene that I had downloaded.
You better seed your torrent.
And I watched it all the time, and I can't find it anywhere. Can't find it anywhere. I mean, granted, it's been like 25 years or whatever. I don't know.
Can you describe the exact scene?
Catholic schoolgirl chicks on a bed.
Pretty vague.
Pretty vague, yeah.
We need more detail. You don't have to get graphic, but we need a little more detail.
Not getting graphic. Not getting graphic. I don't want that band hammer to come down.
Yeah, but like, how many dudes?
What's that?
How many dudes?
Oh, none. That's kind of wristbendy, if you ask me.
That's funny. How many dudes? And you said none? All girls?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Catholic nuns?
I am totally missing this.
You really are.
I really, really am.
None.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that was bad. I looked you right in the eye. I thought you got it.
Nope. Went right over my head.
Woo.
Yeah, but the whole Catholic, isn't it a thing where Catholics don't use any sort of protection?
It depends.
The point is to just like breed out of control and have as many kids. I mean, granted, that is biblical.
The core of it was to find a partner to commit with, to make a family unit, to get freaky with one person, and then to avoid drama by not coveting thy neighbor's wife. The whole idea on that was don't get freaky with your neighbor's wife so you don't have any fucking drama. It was all about drama. It's always been. All of it.
Catholics equal drama.
Yeah. Always has been.
Can't imagine this. You're at 8 kids. I'd want to slow down. I speak for myself. I don't want to have 10 children. I enjoy having the amount that I have. 10 kids.
Aren't you on your 5th?
4th.
5th.
4th.
We'll be saying 5th next year.
No.
Yeah.
I'm getting snipped. They're opening up my balls, and they're getting in there and twisting some tubes around. So that
That's a terrible idea because you will have epididymitis.
What is that?
It's a swelling your Vans difference.
My Vans difference?
Yeah, it'll mean that it'll feel like a hernia inside of your groin.
Like when I nut?
No,
all the time. People get snipped all the time, though. Like a lot. And apparently, all they have to do is post up, not jerk off for 3 days, and put a bag of peas on them. Their balls is them. No. I read all about this all the time.
I can't understand a voluntary snipping. Why not get her to not have kids anymore? Just take out all the eggs or wait 2 years.
What happens in 2 years?
Or whenever the eggs dry up.
That's not 2 years. That's like 30 years from now. And then I have to deal with the hot flashes and all this craziness. No, not doing that. Although menopausal chicks are probably hot because they're older and more mature, but yeah. No, I'm not waiting 30 years. I'm not pulling out for 30 years. No way. So I'll get the snip. I'll go through 3 days of pain. And then I just am blowing loads.
I think less of you as a man.
Why?
Because you're getting snipped.
But everything's still intact. I'm not having my testicles removed. They're just maneuvering some of the piping.
What you've just told me is you're voluntarily eliminating your capability of spawning more children.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It makes you less of a man.
No, it doesn't. I've had enough spawn. I have enough to take care of me when I get old.
It physically does make you less of a man.
It means that I can enjoy certain things without having to be like, oh, hold on.
Or you could just go and be, a geographical bachelor.
A geographical bachelor?
Yeah.
So it depends on what county I'm in?
No, you just go to another country and fuck.
No.
Be like everybody over a certain weight class, you know what I'm saying?
Especially not India. I would not. If you were forced to go to one country and just kind of breed with everybody, what country would you be?
Wait, forced to go to one country for what?
For what you just said.
For fucking?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. What would be the country that you would least want to go to? Let me phrase that. Yeah.
Least one to go to.
Least one to go to.
Korea.
You don't find Korean women attractive?
South Korean women are absolutely insane.
Oh, for what reason?
They're hardcore feminists.
Oh. Ew. Okay.
To the point where if they know that they have a male fetus inside of them, they'll voluntarily get an abortion.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So you're going based on ideology?
Yes.
Okay, not even necessarily looks.
Well, you said the worst place for me.
Yeah, okay. That's
so,
what, yeah.
and I got to tell you, evil is what you tolerate.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I respect that. All right. So they will abort babies, murder them, based on if they're male or female. So if they're male, they will kill them?
Yes.
That's disgusting.
Well, that's their belief. How are we to judge?
How did they come to this belief and conclusion? What kind of brainwashing?
The cult of the 8 goddesses that we were talking about last time.
Oh, okay.
They used it as a way of curating loyal believers and cultists. The female is superior.
You imagine?
But see, remember, in civilization where you can't, what happens? You can't physically defend yourself.
Yeah.
You become isolated. You become henpecked to the point where you snap or you die. And that's really what politics has become. It's so extreme that the most extreme becomes reasonable.
Ryan, shame.
And my fear is that
man.
this becomes truth.
Ugh.
That it becomes less of, you know, we all go into a ballot box to vote and then gleefully skip to play video games and work out and whatnot, to being in a Great Depression where our oil runs out, we can't feed each other, and people are dying of mysterious illnesses from a vaccine which they have no control over and weren't given a full disclosure of what's inside of it. That would be my nightmare case. But thankfully, I can stick my own head up my ass, play video games, hang out with my hot babe, dream of a family life, and shit talk on the internet.
I like that.
I like that too, and that's why I'm telling truth.
And Mark Santana.